Well, he surfs whenever he gets a chance to get back to his California roots, plays drums in a punk rock band, loves Talladega Nights, and as you just heard coming back from break, can flat out drive an Indy car. Colton Herta has already won this season at St. Petersburg, whereas you heard him ask his dad if he could do donuts to celebrate, and his dad, Brian, gave him permission, and he joins us now. Colton, first of all, congratulations on your winning ways. We'll get to that in a moment. But you've kind of led an eclectic kind of life. You mix and match with some weird pastimes. How do you make it all fit?
Yeah, obviously I enjoy doing some different things, and surfing and playing drums is big for me. I enjoy both those things. So it's kind of something to kind of keep your mind off racing, right? You're focused on this one thing 99% of the time, to which sometimes get unhealthy to be so obsessed with one thing. So it's something that I kind of do away from the track, and, kind of takes my mind off it a little bit.
I want to know a little bit more about this punk rock band.
Yeah.
As I understand it, what's the name of it again?
The Zibs.
Now, do you like perform professionally, or is this one of your typical garage bands?
No, we do play. I actually play this Saturday, I believe. It's first time in well over a year.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, no, we do play, and mostly local stuff, but we have played, kind of all over California and even in Arizona a little bit.
At age 19, you got into the IndyCar circuit, and you flat out won at COTA and astonished a lot of people. You made your mark, became the youngest driver at 19 to ever win an IndyCar race. Did that success come early for you? Was it unexpected? You just strike me as a guy that the first time you got in the car, you figured, hey, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah. Good reference. No, it's definitely unexpected for me. I definitely didn't expect to win that early on in my career. I was hoping by the end of my rookie year, I would get close, kind of be up near the front. And, we definitely kind of did that, but it started really early, and I was very surprised about that. But, I think my, engineers, who I still have on my car today, mechanics, were incredible. They really gave me the best opportunity they could week in and week out to win races.
Colton, what's the learning curve been like? Because unlike the days of Foyt, Andretti, and Unser, you have to still drive by the seat of your pants, but you've got an incredible amount of data that you have to review. I mean, it's got to be mind-boggling what you and your fellow drivers have to absorb between practice sessions and even during the course of the race.
Right. No, and it's so important to us too. It's the main way of learning is data plots. So obviously we get a lot of it. It's something that you learn very early on in your racing career when you move into cars and you start looking at data, how to read it and how to maximize when you get back on the track, what information you've got from it. And like you said, now I'm in the position where I have a big team and a lot of other drivers in the team that are very fast. So it makes it that much easier that where, you're never going to be, if you have teammates like that, you're never going to be faster than them in every single corner. And it's always a trade-off. So it's very helpful for us to get the maximum amount out of ourselves when we can look at each other's data and kind of process that and go do it in the real thing out on track.
I like the way you say you can never really, basically what I'm hearing is you never can put in the perfect lap.
No.
But race car drivers inherently, A, they're selfish. B, probably more so than the competition. The guys they want to beat are the ones that sit in on those debriefs, your fellow teammates.
No, right. Exactly. That's, obviously you have the same equipment, you have the same cars. So it's the most accurate way to depict who's kind of faster, right? You see this in all forms of motorsport. You want to beat your teammates before you beat anybody else. Obviously you want to win, but if you can't win, you still want to beat your teammates.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of like a two-way thing where you want to beat them, but you also need them, right? You need their data, you need their help, especially for me, being so young in my IndyCar career. um, I've needed help from those guys for sure. They know a lot more about IndyCar racing than I do. They've been there a lot longer than I have, so I definitely utilize them a lot, and they are very helpful. And I think we both kind of push each other and just elevate everybody's performance as a whole.
But yet, this season overall, you seem to be the leader of the Andretti Autosport pack of drivers. And there's a disparity. I mean, there's a vast difference. When you all are using the same data, have you and the team and your engineers been able to single out what may be some of the possible reasons why you're overachieving as compared to your fellow teammates?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like they're in a slump right now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's probably luck, but it's not everything, right? Like, but they definitely still have helped me tremendous amount. They're still
Mhm.
very fast. And all it takes for them, right, is one good weekend and they're out of it, right? And then they're back on the horse and they're up front every weekend. But I think as far as their season has gone, has not been the luckiest year for them. But they've had speed and they've shown signs of speed everywhere that we've gone so far. So it's encouraging for me, because I still get to use their data, right? Because they still have the speed there, and they're still quick in the corners. But they just need, at least for 1 week, and they need everything to go their way to get back on the horse.
Hey, this is the first season that you've got your pops, who's a pretty darn good, accomplished IndyCar driver in his own right, standing on top of your pit box and calling the shots for you. Listen, nobody's listening. Okay, this is just between me and you. Has there ever come a moment when you may be having an animated discussion with your dad, and he finally uses the old adage, "I say so because I'm your father"?
No, I haven't had that yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
It
Right.
probably just hasn't happened yet.
Let's talk a little bit about the way you came up. As I alluded to, look, you grew up in a racing family, but you were also a typical California kid. You
Right.
had a lot of other endeavors. When did the light bulb go on? When was the fuse ignited for Colton Herta to say, you know what, I want to be a race car driver?
I think it was always there.
Okay.
Yeah, I always wanted to. I always pushed my parents, to, when probably 4 or 5 years old,
Really?
to do go-karting.
You
Yeah,
had to be
so
a pain in the ass then.
yeah, I knew about go-karting, and
Okay.
my dad let me go out and try a go-kart when I was, I think, right before my 6th birthday, and I loved it. So I got a go-kart for my 6th birthday. But I think I really realized it because I was playing, soccer, baseball, and all this sort of stuff, football, all the normal kids sports, but I didn't want to be there. Like, it got to a point where I didn't want to be there anymore, and I wanted to be at the go-kart track. And I thought, well, if I didn't have baseball practice this day, I probably could have been testing at the go-kart track. So I got to the point where I just dropped all sports because I didn't want to do it anymore and focused on racing.
And look, you had to cut a deal with your dad that related back to you underachieving in school. And
Right.
my gosh, what a quick turnaround in just one marking period. Tell my wind tunnel listeners that story.
Right. So I was never that great in school, because I always, even when I was like 8, I was always like, well, I'm going to be a professional race car driver. I don't need to be in school. And so I, once I kind of grew up and I was in high school, I was a good student, but at that point I was traveling so much, it was so hard to keep up with it. But for the story that we're talking about, so like I said before, I was never a good student all the way through elementary school, junior high. And I learned that John Edwards, who is a BMW factory driver, very accomplished race car driver, he did the Skip Barber Racing School when he was 12. So I found out about that, and I told my dad that I want to do that now. And I was maybe 11, and I said, I want to do that. He said, okay, well, if you get straight A's, then we can do it. And I think he threatened it because he didn't think it was going to happen. It was the first time in my life that I got straight A's for a semester. And I got to go to Skip Barber Racing School. I did a 3-day school at Road Atlanta. And that was my first introduction to car racing.
It's absolutely amazing, the journey that you've traveled. And now you're just part of a posse of 20 somethings that are
Right.
invading this IndyCar circuit and really testing the mettle of a lot of 30s, 35s, 40 something drivers that have been there, done that, and gotten checkered flags. Are you close to the other young guys that are out there challenging the veterans?
Yeah, well, Pato for sure. I grew up racing Pato, so I've been racing Pato since I was 10 years old, maybe, in go-karts. And obviously Renus and Palu I didn't race against when I was young because they were overseas, but I always knew about them. I knew about Alex when I was racing in Europe. He was always kind of a year ahead of me. But yeah, it's great. And it's great to see, like, you see some guys that have really promising junior formula careers, and then they get to the top level of motorsport and it just doesn't pan out. So it's nice to see that a lot of these guys, their speed is translated. And like you said, yeah, it's kind of a resurgence, a changing of the guard or whatnot. There's a lot of young, fast drivers in IndyCar right now, which is awesome. And it's a mix of the older guys with all the experience that are still really quick. And so it's really cool to kind of be a part of that.
I don't know if you saw it, but the Tonight Show before the Indianapolis 500, after you qualified in the middle of the front row, did a little comedy sketch with some IndyCar drivers. Did you hear the one that they referred to you as?
I did see that. I don't remember what they said about
the driver most likely to take off his helmet and in slow motion shake his hair out.
That's probably pretty accurate too.
Is there a significance to the long hair?
No.
Okay.
No. I just like it.
I wish I could have it. I did it one time. All right. Last question. You chuckled when I said, if you're not first, you're last.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about your love affair with Talladega Nights.
I love that movie. I think it's hilarious. And it's the perfect movie too, because my girlfriend is like obsessed with Will Ferrell. So she loves all the Will Ferrell movies, thinks he's hilarious. And yeah, so I was never allowed to watch it at my parents' house, but I would always go with my grandparents. And they would have their bus, and we'd take their bus up to, Pismo Beach or Morro Bay on the West Coast and go on camping trips at the beach. And so they would let me watch it. So that's kind of where the first time I watched it, I don't know when it came out, but I was probably like 8 or so when it came out.
I think you're right.
I probably watched it around then. And yeah, so every time that I would go over to my grandma's house, I'd watch Talladega Nights, and I love it.
Well, I can only imagine that when you and your girlfriend are alone and together, you may slip in one of the Ricky Bobby references.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Colton, it's a real pleasure. It's a treat for me. And hey, listen, I wish you continued success on a career that is bright and is going to be a long, long career in the NTT IndyCar Series. Thanks for joining me here in the wind tunnel.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the time.